we kind of talked about this a little bit before. This is always wild to me that, like, again, if it was this easy, why was this not taken care of by Konami in the first place? It took a modder just hours to add 4K support to the Metal Gear Solid collection. Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 out of the retail are locked at 720p on PC. But getting them to run at higher resolutions has turned out to be trivial with a mod. So if a modder can do it in hours after their release, why is the developer not doing this for us on release? Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, again, I understand, Ferret and I were talking about this earlier when we first found this article. It's a different situation. If you're talking about a resolution upgrade that's really going to be negligible, you're not going to be able to tell much of a difference, and the amount of resources, money, personnel, time spent trying to incorporate that is going to not be worth it for the developer. I understand that. Okay, fine. But obviously, that is not the case here. As Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 being locked at 720p, there's going to be a big difference in the resolution jumping from 720p, which is not even fully high def, to a 4K resolution, right? And it was obviously very easy. And even if it wasn't a huge difference, the fact that it was so easy to get it done, why would you not just give your consumers and the gamers that option if it's that easy? I love that the modding community is amazing. They do so much stuff. Fixing games, which unfortunately falls on them quite often because so many developers are crap at fixing their games after release, to just great quality of life, helping older games run better on modern hardware. I mean, you name it, dude. Fun stuff in games, wild stuff in games. The modding community is amazing. And I think this is one of the reasons why I love modders. It shows everybody how lazy developers are sometimes of just not giving us the things they should. This is a great example. Why? If it was so easy to get us better resolutions, why did they not do it? Other than the fact they were being lazy. There's no other excuse. And what may be a land speed record for highlighting the inadequacy of a PC port, Modder Surge has published a small tool for the new Metal Gear Solid Master Collection ports that enables them to run at 4K or other resolutions. I kind of figured. Well, okay. So, whenever I say developer, it's the company as a whole. I'm not pointing a finger at like a certain member of the team or anything like that, but it falls on that company, right? Whether it be a specific department or division within that development team, or that development company, like a team within, or the management themselves or whatever, it is what it is. And it still doesn't make sense. So, I mean, the company is the company, is the company, is the company, is the company. And whatever happened in there for them to go, yo, let's be lazy and not do this, somewhere along the lines that happened. Right? I don't know who to put the blame on other than the company as a whole. Yeah? And it still feels bad. And these are the kinds of things that need to change for us, which is why it's important that I feel like we point this stuff out. If it's this easy, why are we not having it incorporated as an option, right? So I don't know who to necessarily point a finger at internal to that company other than the fact that the developer missed, right? Despite Konami's confusing claims over the last few months, players learned today that the emulated HD remasters of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 both render at 720p on PC, which makes for a particularly blurry picture on higher resolutions, 1440p, 2K, or 4K monitors. This mod, which was released approximately 10 hours after the game's unlocked on Steam, fixes that. And it is just 64.5 kilobytes. I tested the MGS resolution patch in the opening minutes of the Metal Gear Solid 3, setting the game to render at 3840 by 2160 4K resolution. The difference in image quality is stark. Yeah, absolutely it is. Yep. And this is what we were kind of wondering about, right, Ferret? What would the difference be? Yeah? It's like basically going from 720p is like having blur mode on all the time, right? Yeah, it's noticeable. It absolutely is. It's like having a constant blur mode on. Yeah, it's quite obvious the difference, you know. So I would say even just going from like 720p to high def is probably going to be a decent improvement. Obviously, 720p to 4K, that's a big difference. I would say especially even going from like 720p to like 2K resolution or 1440p, you know, it's going to be quite noticeable. Yeah. It's possible this resolution change breaks some of the game's visual effects, which were designed very specifically around the PS2's hardware from the opening minutes. However, it looks flawless. As eagle-eyed players of the game have pointed out, some of those effects were already changed in the porting process to the PS3 in the 2011 HD collection, which this release is based on. Sticking to the resolution for 3D games in 2023 remains a baffling choice, especially because there are some parts of the games Konami has gone in to modify to correct a few glitches that exist in the HD collection. Surfacing a resolution option for players would have gone an incredibly long way in soothing anger at this remaster. The MGS resolution path apparently causes some UI issues in Metal Gear Solid 2, or rather changing the resolution in general causes those issues. But I have a suspicion modders will be quick to solve that problem in the coming days. You know they will. Before scrutinizing the two games for any other visual oddities caused by rendering at 4K. To change the resolution, just follow the simple instructions on the GitHub page linked above. You'll need to download a D3DLL or D3D11 file, D11 file, and the resolution patch. Then stick both in the game's install folder. You can then open the MGS resolution patch INI, that's a config file. To configure the resolution, it defaults to 4K. Super easy. Yeah, that's definitely you know, I mean, you can see in the foliage and stuff too, but that's where you're going to see most of the difference is on the character. Just in this screenshot though. There would be other screenshots that'd probably be more noticeable, you know, depending on what was in the background. But like obviously like this tree right here, you're not going to notice much of a difference at all right there. See that? But like back here, huge difference. Same as all this. Quite different. It's like everything's just so blurry, dude. You know, and then the character itself is much, much better. I'm just saying, like, playing a game, obviously, you know, back in the day, we didn't have a choice. You know, that was as good as it got. You know what I mean? And that was banging back then. But this is a modern port that should have had these options in it. And that's just laziness to me. That's not really acceptable. Especially when somebody has proven this was a very, very, very easy thing to take care of. You know, what a great flipping a screenshot too. Like, This was good. So I don't know. Feels bad, Konami. And thanks to the modders there for taking